Welcome to this explainer. Today we're looking at the fruit tapestry, AI virality, biology, history, and language. We're basically going on this wild ride from the bizarre digital trends of 2026, straight down into our own biology, through a century of history and into global linguistics. Sounds like a ton of ground to cover, right? But stick with me because there is a brilliant single thread tying this all together.
I mean, really, what do an AI-generated mango on your phone feed, a 1920s horse race, and your everyday digestive health actually have in common? You'd think we're talking about completely different universes here. But as we're going to see, human culture is just deeply, inextricably linked to the simple foods we pull from the earth.
Okay, let's kick things off in the very weird digital world of 2026. Right now, anthropomorphic AI-generated fruit are literally taking over the internet. You've probably seen that massive TikTok hit, Fruit Love Island, right? The one where an AI orange and a cherry recreate reality TV dating drama? Millions of followers in a matter of days. Or, maybe you've stumbled on one of those oddly mesmerizing health reels, where a hyper-realistic talking piece of produce just stares right into your soul and explains exactly what it does inside your stomach. But listen, make no mistake, this isn't just random content people are making for fun. Accounts like Science AI Masters are raking in hundreds of thousands of followers by engineering what commentators are calling an AI slop pipeline. They're not spending hours animating this stuff by hand. No way. They are exploiting a highly specific content formula that just totally hijacks the human brain and the social media algorithm, generating millions of views in the process.
So here is the exact zero-cost viral tutorial these creators use. It's kind of crazy. Step 1, you feed a super specific prompt into ChatGPT to generate a script, let's say about fruits that burn belly fat. Step 2, you use an image generator like Google Image FX to create that glossy, realistic fruit character. And finally, step 3, you pipe that image and script into an AI voice and animation tool like Grok. It magically syncs the lips and brings the fruit to life. It is literally a fully automated scroll-stopping conveyor belt of content. But wait, generating that glossy character? That's actually only half the battle. The real secret is algorithm trust. If you just drop that video on a brand new account, the algorithm has zero behavioral signals to work with, and your reel is going to die quietly. To beat this, creators intentionally warm up new accounts for a full 48 hours. They'll go in and like 20 to 30 niche reels, follow 10 to 15 highly related accounts, just so Instagram knows exactly who to show their explainer to. You've basically got to train the machine before you feed the machine. But okay, what if we took one of those viral AI characters completely out of the metaverse and looked at the actual biological truth behind it? If you strip away all the internet virality, the simple banana is practically a medical marvel. It totally defies all that bad reputation carbohydrates have been getting over the last few decades. It's actually fascinating. Ripeness is basically a dial you turn to unlock different superpowers. Look at greener, unripe bananas. They provide this prebiotic fiber that literally nourishes your gut bacteria, which actually supports your memory through the gut-brain axis. Then, as they turn yellow and ripe, they start delivering vitamin B6. That's absolutely crucial for producing serotonin and dopamine. It is literally boosting your mood and motivation. And of course, they are packed with potassium and magnesium to help with muscle recovery and to naturally lower your blood pressure. But actually, hold on. Because these benefits are so potent, they really aren't for everybody. As you can see here, people with impaired kidney function have to be super cautious, mostly because failing kidneys just can't regulate that high blood potassium load. And on top of that, if you're taking certain blood pressure medications like ACE inhibitors, combining them with a banana can spike your potassium to dangerously high levels, which can even cause irregular heartbeats. It's just a really powerful reminder that natural doesn't automatically mean universally safe. All right, from the literal biology of the banana, let's pivot to something a bit more metaphorical. The massive historical symbolism of the apple. Because fruit doesn't just fuel our bodies, you guys. It has profoundly shaped our cultural geography and our ambition. I mean, think about it. How on earth did a simple piece of produce become the globally recognized nickname for one of the biggest, most concrete-filled cities on the planet? We hear the Big Apple constantly. It's plastered on t-shirts, it's all over tourism campaigns, but the origin of this phrase has absolutely zero to do with orchards or farming. To really understand it, we have to trace this nickname all the way back to the 1920s. There was this sports writer, John J. Fitzgerald, who overheard stable hands down in New Orleans talking about heading up to the New York racetracks. They affectionately called those tracks the Big Apple because, well, that was the ultimate payday in horse racing.
Then by the 1930s, Harlem jazz musicians adopted the slang. To them, smaller cities were just little apples, but playing a gig in New York, that was the ultimate stage. The phrase kind of faded away after that, but it was miraculously resurrected in the 1970s by a guy named Charles Gillette for a massive tourism campaign to polish up the city's struggling image. So, whether you were a 1920s jockey, a 1930s jazz trumpeter, or a 1970s tourist, the apple always represented the absolute pinnacle. It's a climb that is tremendously challenging, for sure, but incredibly sweet and rewarding for those ambitious enough to actually grab it. The phrase just perfectly captured the essence of New York opportunity. But idioms like the Big Apple also highlight this fascinating linguistic phenomenon, how global language evolves in fragments. It's a highly, highly specific American turn of phrase. When a language spreads across oceans, the way we use everyday objects, like fruit, to describe our world begins to fracture. It forms distinct regional standards and fundamentally alters how we communicate globally. We can actually see this linguistic divide happening in the real world of publishing. There is this incredible story about a Singaporean newspaper, the Straits Times. When they needed to outsource their sub-editing work, they initially looked at the Philippines, but they quickly realized the Philippines used American English standards. As a British English paper, the Straits Times felt the spelling and the idioms, those cultural turns of phrase, were just too misaligned. So they actually chose to set up a business partner in Australia instead, just to maintain that strict linguistic consistency. Just look at how geographic isolation literally changes our everyday vocabulary. Before the printing press, English spelling was basically a free-for-all. The printing press comes along and stabilizes things, but then you have this massive geographic isolation between America and England. Because they were separated by a giant ocean, they developed entirely different words for the exact same things. Elevator versus lift, sidewalk versus pavement, counselor with one L or two. These aren't just little quirks, they are literal markers of cultural divergence. Yet, despite all this global fragmentation, there is one universal truth we can all agree on. Our language is absolutely saturated with food. Like the gifting company Shari's Berries playfully reminds us, we constantly tell people we find them very appealing, or we call them the apple of our eye. We use fruit to express affection, to motivate, to show gratitude. It is literally baked right into our emotional vocabulary. So, after all of this, we're left with a pretty profound realization. Whether we're engineering talking AI mangoes for millions of followers, tracing 100-year-old horse racing slang to define a megacity, or just sending a cheesy fruit pun to a friend, are we ever really divorced from nature? Even in our most hyper-advanced technological and globalized states, human culture remains fundamentally rooted in the simple fruits of the earth. So, what's going to be the next fruit to define our future? I'll leave you to chew on that.